異世界
The Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 40, An Era's Law Essay. On the stage, the male group of selection continued. Essay topics on righteousness and poetry conform with the norms of society, thus many would choose them, as long as one's memory was excellent and read thoroughly about the topic. It would be easy for anyone to perform well. In contrast, the essays on current affairs were only a few. An essay on current affairs aimed at the views on the current matters and situation at court and thus was very practical. This was the closest category to the affairs of the court, and as most of the students present were young, most of them would be ignorant of the court affairs, except for the few who at their residences were disciples of professors. There would not be any good essay on current affairs. Thus these essays were the hardest topic, but if one was able to perform well, it was as good as getting half of one's feet into the official circles. Shin Miao looked at the chess in front of her. In the past, Pei Lang's circulation of law was composed during the third round, challenge. In this last round, anyone could challenge anyone. Males could challenge females and females could also challenge males, thus naturally students could pick their teachers to challenge. And one of the male students picked Pei Lang, a teacher. Pei Lang was also a brilliant talent. Within only a few steps into the stage, he was able to complete an essay on current affairs which was flowing with quotes from classics, but it was not exaggerated and every part of it was extremely crucial. It was simply stunning. At that time, many princes paid attention to it, but Pei Lang was a smart person and said that he only wanted to be an accounting teacher in Guangwentang and wanted to not think about other matters. With such a determined mindset, if Fu Ziyu did not approach him several times for his service and even Shen Miao had to come out with ideas, Pei Lang would most likely not entered officialdom. The game of chess was crisscrossed, just like her previous lifetime. She flicked her sleeves and the whole game was wrecked. Shen Miao picks up a piece and restarted the game. How about her starting first? Zhao Yan fixed his sleeves and tidied his hair before asking the footboy beside him, "How does this master look like?" Young master is suave, romantic, handsome, elegant. The footboy words flew out quickly as he opened his mouth. Zhao Yan's lips curled up proudly and were about to rise to walk over towards the stage. When Zhao Jing saw that, he grabbed him and asked, "What are you doing?" "Selecting." Zhao Yan said. Zhao Jing knitted his brows as he understood how much weight his younger brother had. It was alright if he had no talents, but he loved to be in the limelight. Now with the entire court in attendance at the banquet, it was not the time to take the wrong turn, Zhao Jing said. "You know how?" When these words landed in Zhao Yan's ears, they sounded different. He and Zhao Jing were blood brothers from the same mother, but when people mention the Zhao family, they would first praise Zhao Jing. Zhao Jing was born with delicate features, but he was rugged and tan. He helped his father to handle things from a young age. However, every time he wanted to talk with his father about court affairs, his father would shake his head with impatience. Zhao Jing and Zhao Yan were brothers and there should not be any disagreement, but because of how others view them, discord bloomed. Zhao Yan felt inferior under his oldest brother's light, and to hear Zhao Jing's current words, he became angry. Initially, he had some hesitation as the essay was too well written. But now there was not a trace of hesitation at all. He spoke in an unkind tone, "Eldest brother, although this younger brother is not as smart as you, he is not a total idiot. You need not hold me back as I would, after all, be unable to seize your limelight away." Zhao Jing heard the meaning behind his words and paused. Before he could speak, Zhao Yan pushed him aside and walked up the stage confidently. From afar a loud voice rang, I choose essay on current affairs. Essay on current affairs? It was not that no one knew about Zhao Yan, so naturally, some looked over. Even though Zhao Yan did not have any abilities, it was strange to say that he was rather good in Guangwentang. This was only because his homework and manuscripts were always written by others. Thus he has not considered a great talent but was still regarded as outstanding. As a result, when he went up the stage like this, the crowd did not feel that great of a surprise. This was because, during the selecting category, one would usually prepare their best work in advance. As essay on current affairs had always been difficult, the usually noisy audiences gradually quietened down to look at the green-clad youth on the stage. The few students that had chosen essay on current affairs had already read their essays out in public. Even though they were not considered good, Zhao Jing still frowned as Zhao Yan walked up. Did not expect that Zhao Yan to dare selecting an essay. Feng Anning spoke with curiosity. If it was Zhao Jing, I would feel that it would be better. Xin Miao stopped the chess game and looked towards the stage. After preparing everything, Zhao Yan took out the sheet of paper and slowly read it out. By law, the foundation of the country is set in the framework to support as it soars to the skies. He read it out in a cadence of his own, making those people who were watching the commotion gradually settle down, especially the officials that were sitting in the banquet, who started to look seriously at the youth who was reading. Zhao Jing's younger brother is indeed not bad. A flash of surprise appeared in Prince Shu's eyes. The darins in court may not necessarily be so insightful as compared to such an essay like this. Indeed not bad. Prince Jing nodded as he praised. Moreover, with such a young age, in time he would be a significant personnel. Fu Ziyi watched the person on the stage quietly and there were no fluctuations in his expression. His hands, however, unconsciously twisted up. Whenever he has any thoughts or decisions, he would unconsciously do this action. Zhao Yan's actions made him come out with new plans in his heart. As for Pei Ling, ever since Zhao Yan read the first sentence, his entire body stiffened. For unknown reasons, he felt familiar with Zhao Yan's essay on current affairs. But from his outstanding memory, he had not heard it before and was thus puzzled. But this feeling of extreme familiarity that hit onto his face made the usually calm him to feel peeved. As if after every sentence that Zhao Yan read, he could follow up with the next sentence. It was incomparably familiar, as if it was his work. Xin Miao smiled and did not continue to look at the youth on the stage but continued to look at the chess pieces on the chess set. She conveniently picked a piece and placed it at the edge of the chessboard. "What kind of chess are you playing?" Feng Anning asked. "It must be randomly playing. How would one place a piece so far away?" "Far?" Xin Miao shook her head. Every chess piece had its use. How far could this seemingly useless chess piece travel? Even if the current situation was thousands of miles away, but for the future general, it would become an integral part of the picture. Now, could one see it through? At a distant pavilion, there was a panoramic view of the stage. Su Mingfeng moved his fan and said, "This time, I don't know where did Zhao Yan found such an elegant and unconventional piece of an essay. I would like to get acquainted with the author of this essay." "Acquainted for what?" Facing opposite him, the purple-clad youth said lazily. He was practically sitting in front of the pavilion window as he leaned against the frame with almost half of his body probing out. "It should be a darin with an encyclopedic knowledge." Su Mingfeng believed his thoughts. If one can become friends, one would benefit. Zi Jingxing laughed out before turning his head to look towards the stage with an additional begonia in his hands. The begonia had yet to wilt as if it was just plucked. It had a light scent, but this seemed to be somewhat harsh. "That is not always certain,"